Hi everyone, I'm Sakshi and today I'll speak about AI for everyone and how my journey in open source with AI started. And I'll motivate you enough to start your journey with AI today. So a little bit about me. I am a software developer, which I don't like to call myself up. I'm a learner. I'm all the time learning new things up, be it learning pronunciations in Swedish languages. That's a little tough for me, but yeah. And I'm an innovator. I have started my journey in Smart India Hackathons, that is SIH. Smart India Hackathon are India level. I come from India, so I'm not from Sweden or Europe. This is my first time in Europe. And so in India we have Smart India Hackathons, and I have been a winner plus an evaluator for such hackathons, where we leverage all-round students from universities. They come together to solve challenges and problems that the government of India is facing. So I started as a student and I was a winner, and then I started as an evaluator. Later, once you become a Smart Hackathon winner, you get to participate in India Africa hackathons, like international hackathons. So I've been part of India Africa hackathon, that is UAI. I love to express my thoughts and experiences and knowledge through words. That's how I'm here today as a public speaker. And also I'm an athlete at heart. I love to play football, badminton, and any sport that is good enough for me. Off the grid, you can catch me trekking all around the city in India, around the Himalayan regions. So yeah, I love to wish to connect with you over trekking. That's pretty much about me. I like to praise myself, so that's me. So today's agenda, introduction to yours truly, that's me, the speaker. I've done that part. Let's switch gears to why did we choose open source AI as the changing transformation. Then we'll quickly dive towards how do we get into open source AI, that is introduction to open source AI. And then we would go towards demoing a small part of how I have used open source tools and developed a really cute resume analyst thing, that is the demo time. And later I would like to go forward to give you some tips and tricks that I use in my journey for open source, and then how it has been a game changer as a catalyst for my journey. That's pretty much about my agenda. Why the topic? So yeah, the world is known for AI-powered innovation, but the American politics says A1 and not AI. But let's break the ice and become AI-powered innovation. Modern problems require modern solutions, right? So AI is the new energy, as we have seen. It has been transforming various major industries. That's what the great leaders say. But we say it this way: modern problems require modern solutions. And that's how we're going to transform our journey in open source via AI. What do you think when you hear the word AI? ChatGPT or GitHub Copilot, right? That's the first thing. You develop a powerful AI solution, teach that AI to write the code, then AI replaces you, and then you are left with jobless, right? That's not what AI does. It's much more than what AI has capabilities to. When we hear about the word open source means free, and AI is also free, but we need to understand what this free understanding with open means. So open source AI refers to artificial intelligence, that is AI, which has technologies, tools, models, frameworks, templates, all of these publicly available so that you can use it, you can modify it, you can test it, you can distribute it well. Rather than, so basically the pre-trained models are a typical example of where open source AI fits in. You have publicly accessible AIs and you don't need to train them. You can directly get access to it and you can directly modify it according to your conditions, according to your needs, and then you can distribute it to your clients. That's how open source AI works. Unlike the proprietary AI which are kept close enough and they are not publicly accessible. They have control over the security policies according to the companies that work around that. So that is very much different than the open AIs that we are going to promote today. And what are the benefits of open source? Are similar benefits for open source AI? It's accessibility and transparency because it's open, so anybody can come, anybody can contribute, anybody can collaborate with each other to majorly understand how it works. So it's easily accessible and transparent. And it fosters innovation because all the hackathons that I've been participating in, it usually uses the open source AI part because you get to drill deep down into the hard codes of the system, and you can improve the algorithms, you can get tested with the models, you can report bugs. I have reported a lot of bugs in LinkedIn applications as well, and you can propose new features as well, right? So that's how it's innovation fostering helps, right? And it's cost effective, like there are free tiers all around the open source AI that you can use to develop some small applications and then later leverage it up to bigger, larger applications like scalability, right? So you have to reduce the financial barrier that is there. And customization and flexibility is another good benefit that adds on to it. There are pre-trained models, but you can get it and then you can fine-tune it the way you want it as your applications are. We'll see an example where I've molded the application enough to get use of it. Some of the open source AI that I've been using these days is Hugging Face. It has a lot of pre-trained models and a lot of templates that I have been using. And Mistral AI being one of the major France-based company, and it has developed many wrapper around good social media applications that I have been using. I'll show you a demo of that. I have, in the Smart Data Hackathon journey that I previously mentioned, I have been using OpenCV, which is an application, like you can consider it a model, which has facial features that you can detect, the hand, the eye gestures, the speech conversion rates and all, right? So I have a project around that as well. Then TensorFlow for all your ML processing, and Scikit library for Python applications. So these are popular open source AI tools in my bucket, but yeah, I'll walk you through these in my projects. The main agenda is to change the landscape from open source data. Data set should be kept open, then the model becomes open, and then the tool itself becomes open, right? That's how it should be. Why should one opt for pre-trained models is one of the biggest question that anybody asks to me, and why pre-trained models are a game changer in the journey is you don't need to spend a lot of time in training your model, right? It's already trained, it's already tested, you just fine-tune it the way you need it. You don't need to train it and spend your resources in it, right? Training a pre-trained model is not needed. And if you don't use a pre-trained model, it requires hundreds and thousands of epochs if you have worked in ML models. It requires many epochs to run and train that model, and also splitting the data set is also a major task. So you save a lot of resources, you don't have to train it from scratch. That's one of the major advantages that I've seen, and you can easily plug that application into your application without understanding its inner part, what it really does. So it is easily available via any of the APIs. I'll walk you through one of the APIs that I will expose in my application. So it's easy drag and drop thing. And it's open source, so obviously it's fostering innovation, so you can get contributions into communities, you can understand how it's working, you can have community-based support as well regarding updates, patches and other things. So you have to focus on your application rather than reinventing the wheel, right? You have to focus on innovation rather than invention. So that's how rapid prototyping works in terms of fast applications like hackathons. So this is why you should go ahead with pre-trained models is my uptake. And why low-code, no-code strategy works best is in open source is it's easily accessible to anybody. Even if you don't know some scripts, you can easily grasp through things because you are not training the model, right? You easily get the model and you use it up according to your needs. And faster prototyping because you are not training it, so you're not spending much time in that. You are spending much time in using the model and gaining the insights from it. It's cost effective. Obviously, as I mentioned, you don't need to purchase a license. If you are relevant to purchasing a license, you can go ahead. But you can start by using free tiers. That's pretty much cost effective. I started all my projects in open source using free tiers, and it really works. Community driven, as I previously mentioned, you get support from communities regarding patches. updates, and all other things that are needed for your application to work. Some of the local anecdotes that I have for as I'm in Europe. So you can scan this code and get to know about how AI is transforming healthcare in Sweden. They are enhancing a lot of decision making. So there's a small story that goes around here. Let's consider a doctor, and if the doctor is really anxious of whether this person should be operated for the cardiac arrest operation or not, right? So how AI can help in this is AI really you can get the AI, get to give him all the past reports of all the patients that have been there, and the AI will determine whether this person should be operated or not. It's very critical, but that's how you can scan the code and see how AI is being used in this healthcare, right? It's not about tech here, it's about that life-making decision, should this person be operated or not, right? Another example is Safe Streets for All. So AI, open source AI means not just about anybody who is physically fit, but also empowering others who are not, who are discriminated, and also you need to adapt to different people's and different people needs, right? So open source AI is inclusive of all kinds of people and their disabilities. So let's consider a female who is Fatima, and she uses Walker to walk around the streets. And there's this open source smart tool that is developed on your stick, and it really measures how many meters is the steep curve coming up, right? So those kinds of applications are involved in many cities in Sweden, and that's also in India. So you can scan this code and you can understand how it's working in open source AI. Coming to some of the other OpenCV projects. So OpenCV, as I clearly mentioned, it has facial features which recognizes how big your eyes are, how small your eyes are, how frightened you are you confident enough or not, where are you seeing, are you cheating or not. All these law enforcement things are done through facial recognition technology, and that is done through OpenCV projects. And this is being incorporated in all the crime, all the law enforcement things. So that's how AI has power to transform the world. And one of the other banking applications, Bank ID is used in Sweden, right? If you're aware, I'm a learner, right, as I said. So I learned this banking ID. It's an electronic identification system in Sweden. And once you use it, it really enhances your AI. It considers AI into multiple banking systems, and it protects you from a lot of various scams that are there. So you can scan the code and get to know how it's being used, what are the other anecdotes that are there. So let's deep dive into how it's really done, right? I mean, all from now, I was just talking about this is how it is, that's how the benefits are. But deep dive, you still are curious, right? That how it's being done. So it's demo time, and you need to wish me luck because mostly demos don't work. So wish me luck that demo works. Otherwise, I have to show you a recording that I recorded. So I'll firstly walk you through one of the diagrams that I have. I've developed a simple resume parser and a job search using open source, all open source AI. So what a user does, there's a web application, which is a Flask application. A user directly goes into this web Flask application. One has to upload their resume there. That's in the PDF format that I have right now allowed the format to be. So resume is uploaded in the Flask application, and all the resumes have this kind of name and all kinds of things, right? So there will be a heading and the body, right? So that needs to be extracted. So the first part of the first API call that we'll do is an uploading resume. Once you upload the resume, the Flask application in its internal things has this PDF converter that actually extracts all the text from the PDF. All the text is extracted and put it into a text file or a string, right? Array or a string. That text file, so extraction is first part, right? Second part is there are many irrelevant texts that are there, right? So in that irrelevant text, you need to extract all the relevant keywords for your application. Let's consider for resume parser, a person has written all kinds of stuff, right? I've been experienced in this, that. You have to just capture bare minimum, like what's the name of the person, where is he working, what are the skills that the person has, what is the designation that the person has, how many years is he working for, what are the projects that he's been developing. So all these kinds of relevant keywords you need to extract it from the past data, right? So for that, I use the Hugging Face Distill GPT-2 model. It's a pre-trained model. I'll walk you through that. Once this relevant keywords are extracted, you can directly use, so once the data is uploaded, right, this is the first API call. Once you get the relevant data, you then submit that data. That is another API call that I'll make. So once you submit that data, there's a LinkedIn API that I've been using. And through this LinkedIn API, I'll directly take that relevant keywords and put it into that API call. It's a wrapper that will take that data. And once this wrapper is taking that data, it will list all the relevant jobs that are open for you to apply, right? So it just searches for the data according to your resume that you upload, right? Let's just walk you through that. I don't see this. This is a Python application. I'll just start it and then walk you through it. Yeah. So I'll take one of the resumes that I currently have. I'm taking my own resume and then I click on upload resume. So it will take all the relevant fields from my resume and it will submit it in a form. So are you able to see that? It took my name, it took my location, it took my skills. So this is an NLP kind of thing, natural language processor. It parses all the data from my resume. I have an experience of 3 years. It takes an education as one of the field and some projects that I have been working. So the relevant fields for now are these, and so once I click on submit, it will use the Distill GPT to give me the exact relevant jobs that are available. And I've used the LinkedIn application, which will tell me what all jobs are right open. So you can see this one, and it will take you to the relevant app on the LinkedIn, right? So this is kind of the applications that are built using exact open source AI, and it uses a Flask application, it uses Hugging Face models, and it uses transformers, which is Distill GPT, and I'm using the current Hugging Face token. So just to tell you, if you're not aware how to get a token, you just go into the Hugging Face, right? Are you able to see? Yeah. So Hugging Face, you go to your profile, you create a token, and once you have created the token, like I have used this token, I've created it 3 hours ago. So I'm using the same token as it's valid, right? You can create another token as well using this create new token. Once you create this new token, you just export it into .NET .env file, right? And you can use the same for your applications. So I'm using the Flask secrets as well, and I'm just for the modularity thing. I will never ship my passwords to my customers, right? So I am keeping all the passwords into one of the envs. So keeping it modular as well. And once you have all the, right now I'm only allowing PDF formats, so this is the formatter, and extract text from file. This is the first step that we discussed. Coming back to my PPT, yeah. This is the file extractor using Py libraries. Once the text is extracted, I need to actually use the Hugging Face token to log in into Hugging Face. Once it's logged in, then I use the Distill GPT to actually find the relevant keywords from the all text that were extracted. Once the text is extracted, I am using a keyword that I want for the field to be done. So my relevant keywords are name, location, skills, experience, education, and projects. And I'm cleaning the text enough so that I get relevant jobs only. Once this is all regex, so regular expressions are being used here to get the name parsing, to get location parsing, to get skills patterns, to get education patterns, to get project patterns. Once you have all of these, you get the keyword, right? And I'm hitting the upload file that we already did. Once you upload it, it goes into the submit button, right? And let's walk you through one of the submit thing that I have. So I'm using the LinkedIn wrapper APIs. So let me walk you through that. Are you able to see this? Rapid API, the Mistral API that I'm using. So here I'm using the LinkedIn API 8, that's the wrapper, and I'm giving the keywords, right? Are you able to see this keyword? This is the skill. The skill is Golang, and the location I'm keeping it to everything. This is the code for everywhere. And the day posted, I'm saying anytime the day is posted and sorted according to the most relevant jobs that are there. And you have the Rapid API key and the Rapid API host. So I copy this Rapid API key and Rapid API host and put it in my code. This is where the exact same code goes in. It's just that here the location, the skill set will be taken from the parser that was taken, right? So the parser will be used, and once this hits, it gets response as the relevant jobs that are available for your specific profile, right? So that's how NLP processing with OpenAI works. So this is about the demo that we had. If you need access to my code repo, this is my scanner. You can get the whole code that I just explained through this. It's hosted on GitHub, so you can directly extract that up. Let's walk you through. Okay, sorry if somebody was scanning. Yeah. So let's switch gears and understand how open source AI is a game changer and how is being a perfect catalyst to beat the time, right? That's hacking the clock. So what are hackathons? Basically, people think that it's running with hacking the clock, but it's not like that. Hackathons are really time-bound events that are used to develop innovative solutions for some of the problems that are faced, right? So time was very essence in hackathons, and in time you have in short amount of time you need to develop a full MVP out of it, right? Minimal viable product. So to cater to this problem of time, we need to use open source. So hackathons are time-based event. People are usually confused between should I hack it up, or should I learn a new skill, or should I just go and sleep, right? But it's not. This is not the struggle. The major struggle that goes around is time. So you should avoid reinventing the wheel. You should use the pre-trained models. You should focus on rapid prototyping. All the small applications that I showed now, they are not trained by me. It's a pre-trained model that I'm using. I'm building a resume parser and I'm listing the jobs. I'm just using the LinkedIn wrapper to get the fields out of the parser and using it up. So you have to use pre-trained models, samples, templates, tools, technology, all these workspaces that are there. You need to make use of that to get the rapid prototyping up so that you beat the time up, right? And to beat the time, you need to understand the right tool with the right mindset, with the right work, right? There are many tools all around internet, right? But what fits for your application, you need to identify that. And for that, you need to have community support. Until and unless you don't have any community support, you won't be able to understand the actual needs of your application getting fulfilled with the right tools. And you should contribute to one of the communities and collaborate in terms of how these communities help you build your applications. And one of the communities that we run in India is also FOSS United India. And in our local community, we have FOSS United Pune, which is part of FOSS India and then FOSS Asia. So that's how I build my applications using free and open source. And there are other free and open source tech stack as well, Stack Overflow, Red Hat, then also GitHub. All my applications are all uploaded on GitHub. So you should contribute in any of the communities that is important for your applications. And cost effectiveness, obviously, all the tools that I use now for building that small application was free and open source. I did not pay for any license. I just created an account in Mistral AI. I just created an account in Hugging Face, and I was done with my application. And making scalable and flexible applications, you can leverage the flexibility because it's you can modify the way you want it to work, right? So it's easily moldable the way you want it to work. The harder part of tech stack using open source with hackathons is developers during hackathons really build applications in just 3 days. But when it comes to working in a company or anywhere in the industry, you take just 3 days to develop one icon, right? Not the whole product. That's the harder part of it. I'll not expose much part of here. So this is another GitHub repo that I have. You can scan it up for any questions on how did my hackathon journey began and how did I use open source AI into presentation skill analysis of a user. So if I'm talking, the way I'm communicating with you, or how am I better, how is my speech better, is my facial expression better, am I anxious, am I confused, is my tone a bit faster or slower? These are all kinds of presentation skill analysis of a user, right? And you need to determine, are you speaking well or not? So this application, I used OpenCV and understood all the factors that are affecting the soft skills of a person, right? And those soft skills of a person was developed, the application was developed using Flask and all open source tech stack. So OpenCV was one of the major tech stack that I used. So you can get access to this Python application as well using this code. So getting to the major part of tips to getting started with open source. So I started my open source journey in AI a year ago, and that's only tips that I have for now. But going ahead, I'll have more tips. So start small is one of the major thing that I would advise anybody as a beginner who goes in. Use pre-trained models just like I used for resume extractor and job listing. Use pre-trained models, use low-code, no-code strategies so that you don't get stuck in somewhere developing something which you are not bound to deliver, okay? You innovate it rather than reinventing the wheel. That's what I follow. Start small. Leverage the community advantages. Community has a lot of support in terms of code readability, code understanding, code updates. So you should always participate in any kind of open source projects, forums that help you understand the products better. Participating in hackathons is one of the major distinguishing factor in my personal experiences. In hackathons, you really understand how is the other person doing and how are you better than your others, and also in your team, right? So you get to work in a team, and in short period of time, you need to develop the whole application. So you should participate in hackathons is one other thing that I would advise anybody who is starting a journey in open source AI. And use online forums that are available to learn. If needed, you need any online support, I am available on many of the social media. You can ping me that I'm facing this kind of problem. I'll give you one open source repo to be looked after. Just one pro tip here, always code one line at a time. Don't bother yourself with, I have to develop this whole application, all of this today. But you need to understand that you have a team as well, right? It's a teamwork. So get one line at one time, one function at one time. Once you develop your part, others will also work along with you. That's one thing that I learned the hard way, but yeah. So today's PPT, you can get it. I have already uploaded it on my GitHub. So you can get the PPT if you need anything on open source and all the projects that I have been developed. You can get the PPT from this scanner. And yeah, you can connect with me over LinkedIn. I am mostly active on LinkedIn, so that's my QR. And some of the other future references, open source tools that I usually use is Mistral AI Granite, that is IBM, and open source AI Hugging Face API that I currently use for the Bristol GPT-2, right? So these are the reference links that you can easily scan and get reference to. Lastly, I would like to thank FOSNOT for giving me an opportunity to be part of Sweden and also part of FOSNOT. It's really a privilege for me to visit Europe for the first time and with a lot of memories. I really thank the organizing team and the whole FOSNOT for selecting my talk and giving me an opportunity this early in my life. And that's how I want the amazing audience to be. That's how the room should be. So I